Hoot, we're here for you. You were one bad pitcher. Cool Sports presents on the daily. Well, hello, VIP. Cole Johnson's on the mic on the daily. Is on tap, presented by Cole Sports. And if you haven't done so already, well, welcome back to the channel also. You can also get shirts at the store that is called the Cole Sports VIP Boutique. You can get them right now. And also, if you haven't already liked this video, and also I want to hear what you have to say, so comment below. And don't forget to hit that notification bell to get any and all premieres of this show, of this channel, or subscribe to the video, and subscribe to the video and channel. All right, all the particulars are out of the way. And, well, one more. The deets are below for the shirt that I'm wearing today. And now to the business at hand. And one of the greatest pitchers that I've ever witnessed in terms of power, in terms of being dynamic, in terms of being important, in terms of being a power player and a power broker. It definitely lied in the right arm of number 45 of the St. Louis Cardinals. That man is Bob Gibson, and we're going to do something a little different. Normally on these episodes, I do I guess you could say, what happened on this particular day in history. But I want to talk about this guy since he unfortunately passed away earlier this week. Oh, sorry, since he passed away late last week, I just had to talk about him and what he even meant to me, although I barely saw him play. But he meant a lot to me. And so this episode is dedicated to Bob Gibson, and that's how we're going to do this week's. So I was a youngster, probably about 5, maybe 6. And I remember my father was talking to me about pitchers, and one of them that happened to flow in his mind right then and there was Bob Gibson. Now, understand, my father grew up a Dodgers fan. And I mean, he grew up a Dodgers fan, not from LA, from Brooklyn. But he was in tune with National League teams, obviously, because, well, the Dodgers roamed in the National League. And he talked glowingly about Bob Gibson. He talked about how intimidating he was. He talked about how tough he was as a pitcher. He talked about many of his exploits. And he really had an affinity for Hoot. What I didn't know when I thought about all this was that his MLB career, his Major League Baseball career, started not as a starting pitcher, but as a reliever. And I said, this guy, who to me is the quintessential stud ace pitcher, the guy who had no issues, problems, or qualms about pitching 9 innings in a game, he was a relief pitcher. Shocked when I first heard, when I first read that. I was, well, roughly a week years old when I found that out, right? So he started as a relief pitcher. Hard to believe. But part of the reason as to why he became a starter was that he developed 2 fastballs. Just imagine a pitcher developing 2 styles of fastballs. And he had a slider. And he relied on that slider. And considering the arm that he had, having him rely on the slider, which to me that meant That was his go-to pitch. And he probably perfected it to the point where that thing looked like it was going to be right there waiting for a batter to hit, and it just dived and hit the dirt before it even got to the plate. He was a masterful performer as a pitcher. Masterful. And I do not use that word lightly with him. He was masterful. All right. You want stud? Take, for instance, 1964's World Series. Now, by this time, because he came to the league in 1959, so by 1964, he was a starting pitcher. And I think he was about to assert himself as the ace, not right around this time, but that year. Now, it isn't odd for an ace pitcher, or at least it definitely wasn't then, but it isn't even now to a degree. If that ace pitcher went in games 1, 4, and 7, if the series went 7 games. So they were playing the Yankees that year, and that series went 7 games. Now, Gibson had 3 starts, but he started games 2, 5, and 7. Now, you're probably saying, well, Cole, how is it possible that he started game 5 and then he turned around and started game 7? Well, he did it off of 2 days rest. Now, the Yankees got around to him, but the Cardinals, they sealed the deal and they won their World Series championship that year, and that was Gibson's first. And not only did he pitch on 2 days rest in game 7, he pitched a complete game on 2 days rest in game 7. Stud, like I said. He went on to set a World Series record by striking out 31 batters in that World Series Classic. And he won his first World Series MVP. Not to be outdone, 3 years later, the Cardinals went back to the World Series. Now, this time he's just about on the precipice of being the pitcher of the era. Another World Series appearance, another masterful performance throughout those series performances. This time he did start in games 1, 4, and 7. Yes, this did go 7 games as well. This time the opponent was the Boston Red Sox. And he also pitched a complete game in game 7 as well. In fact, he was the first to do so, to pitch a complete game in game 7 in 1964's World Series and a complete game in 1967's Game 7 World Series. And it resulted in another world championship for the Cardinals, the second in Gibson's career, and another World Series MVP. Oh, but that was just the tip of the iceberg, because the very next year, another World Series appearance, but the whole year was his oyster. Get this ERA, 1.12. That was some nasty stuff he was throwing. 1.12 ERA. Every 9 innings, teams could only score 1 run off of him. That's a bad man. Whew. Through 13 shutouts that year, pitched 12 straight complete games in June and July. Now, the hottest times of the year, and he pitched complete games in every start he made in those 2 months, 1968. Amazing, amazing stuff. Went on to have 47 scoreless innings also that year. So he, of course, was I won't say unanimous, but he definitely was the overwhelming MVP of the National League that year. And he went on to pitch games 1, 4, and 7 of that year's World Series. This opponent was the Tigers. Now, his best effort was game 1, where he struck out 17 Tigers. Complete game, of course. Now, he held the Tigers to 1 run in game 4, another complete game. I'll mention that a little later. But they got the better of him in game 7. Game 7, first 6 innings, each team only mounted one run of offense each. And in a 2-run triple basically broke, I guess you could say, the Gibson spell in the 7th inning for the Tigers, and the Tigers went on to win the World Series that year. But here's the Gibson effect, how dominant he was. MLB decided to lower the mound from 15 inches to 10. That's dominance. And he wasn't just a great pitcher, he also was a great hitter. In fact, he pinch hit over 100 times. I think 109 plate appearances he had in 1970. His batting average, 303. Almost Tony Gwynn-like. This is the ace pitcher having a bat. It's amazing, though. Oh, and I talked about my father mentioning to me about Gibson being an intimidating figure on the mound. Well, see, my father always, when I was younger, talked about how pitchers need to develop chin music. And what did he mean? Well, if a batter was crowding the plate, a pitcher that was in control of his stuff and wanted to brush him back a little bit, pitchers were known to throw a pitch inside. He said the real special pitchers knew how to throw inside and near your head. And so when the ball would whiz by you, that's what my father was talking about and alluding to when he said chin music. I mean, the guy was known for being intimidating. The guy was also known for being surly. And former Cardinals catcher, and now he's the current, and he's been a long time, Fox Sports color commentator, Tim McCarver. He said when you would have these confabs on the mound with Gibson, Gibson would wave him off and would say the following to him. This is some cold stuff. Quote, "The only thing you know about pitching is that it's hard to hit." Close quote. I mean, the guy was intimidating to his teammates, obviously, as much as he was to opposing batters. Yeah, he's amazing. A lot of people have said wonderful things about him, and I will definitely add to that. He went on to live in his native Omaha. He retired there after being a longtime pitching coach for the Cardinals as well. And that's where he went to rest. The impact he had on me was that I always wanted to have pitchers who dominated the game like he did, because he was just quality. You know, it was like he was unflappable. He couldn't do any wrong. And I love aces like that. And he struck me as that. Bob Gibson, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, 2-time World Series MVP, 1968 NL MVP, 7 consecutive World Series victories, and a first ballot Hall of Famer in 1981, dead at the age of 84. My condolences to the Gibson family. Now, what memories do you have of Bob Gibson, or anecdotes that you have to tell? I'd like to hear that. Like this video, comment below. What stood out that Bob Gibson did that really touched your heart? And don't forget to hit that notification bell and hit that subscribe button and subscribe to this channel, Cole Sports, that is. And that's all the time I have. Thank you so much for this time. I appreciate you, VIP. And for all who put on this broadcast, this has been yet another installment of Cole Sports. thoughts on the visual and on the daily.